Hello, this is Unit 8, Lesson 3, and in this, it should be a very short lesson. We're just going to be learning how to simplify complex fractions. So what is a complex fraction? Well, if you take a look at our first example, you can kind of tell by looking at it, a complex fraction is not simply just a fraction over a fraction. Okay, that would be like if you had x plus 2 over x, so that's a fraction over I don't know, 2 plus 2x plus 1 over x plus 3, whatever. Okay, that is just a division problem. All right, so keep in mind that you could write this one I wrote up here sideways as a division problem and then treat it like our typical division problem that we've been doing. Okay, because that big old fraction bar just means division. All right, so these two examples I'm writing right now are not complex fractions. But if you take a look at the example on the paper, you can see that this one is. All right, so what's different? What makes that complex? Well, if you notice, I have a fraction plus something, whether that be adding another fraction or just a single term, whatever. I have a binomial in my numerator and a binomial in my denominator. Okay, up here, I just simply have one fraction over one fraction as opposed to 2 over 2 or 3 over 3 or whatever. All right, so that's what makes it complex. I have a fraction plus something over a fraction plus something or minus, okay? So to simplify that, we cannot simply just treat this like a division problem where we flip the denominator because of the binomial. That won't work out. So what we want to try to do is to try to eliminate the mini fractions. So what we want to do is get rid of these denominators right here. All right, now keep in mind the 3 and the 4 can also be written as fractions with a denominator of 1. So you want to treat everything as a fraction. So our first step is to find the LCD for every single fraction in the problem. So we're going to go ahead and make our list and write down all the different factors that we see. So I see an X, I see a Y, and I don't need to write down the number 1 because of course multiplying by 1, keeps the value the same, but just be aware that those are fractions. All right, so here's my LCD. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply every single one of those fractions by my LCD because the whole point is to get rid of all those little denominators and just have it end up as one big old fraction. Okay, so what happens here? Well, what I'm doing here is now I'm doing xy times 1 divided by x. All right, so that leaves me with xy over x. Now, I don't have to write this all out if I just realize, oh, right, those x's are going to cancel. That's the point of multiplying by the LCD because I get rid of those denominators. So I'm really just left with y times 1, which is y. Now over here, I have xy times 3 divided by 1. So nothing's going to cancel, and I don't need to because the denominator of 1 is no big deal. So really, I'm just left with 3 times x times y, which is 3xy. All right, down here, look, I have a denominator I need to get rid of, and look, that's what that y is there for, to get rid of it. Bye. So I'm left with 5 times x. Okay, and then over here, once again, there is no denominator to cancel out, so I'm left with plus 4xy. So now, guys, we have something that we did in lesson number 1. It's just a fraction. We're going to factor and cancel if we can. So in the top, I can pull out a y, which leaves me with 1 plus 3x. In my denominator, I can pull out an x, which leaves me with 5 plus 4y. Can I cancel anything? Nope, so I am done. Okay, so once again, the whole point is to find the LCD of all the many denominators, multiply every term by that to cancel out your denominator, factor, and cancel if you can. All right, let's take a look at number 2. Okay, so looking, I have an x plus 1. I see a y right here. X plus 1 again, which I already have, and a y. So this is what I'm going to multiply everything by y times x plus 1. Okay, so y times x plus 1. What ends up happening? The x plus 1's cancel, so I'm left with y times 1, which is y. Multiply this by y times x plus 1. Okay, so what ends up happening? The y's cancel, so I'm left with 1 times x plus 1, which is x plus 1. Down to the denominator. So I'm multiplying this by y times x plus 1. My y's cancel, leaving me with 2 times x plus 1, so I got to distribute that 2. So I'm left with 2x plus 2. Y times x plus 1. My x plus 1's cancel, leaving me with negative 1 times y. So just careful of your sign there. Okay, and then I look, can I factor? No, I can't, so I'm done. That's it. All right, let's take a look at number 3. So I look at my denominators. I've got a y and I've got an x. So everything's getting multiplied by xy. All right, let's go through. So here nothing's going to cancel, so I have x squared y. X. All right, here the y's cancel, which leaves me with negative x, which I seem to be able to factor that. We'll wait till the end. Here my x's cancel, leave me with y times 1, which is y. And over here, nothing cancels, so I have a negative xy squared. All right, so my numerator, I can factor out an x, which leaves me with xy minus 1. In my denominator, I can factor out a y, which leaves me with 1 minus xy. Can I cancel? Yes, those are opposites, okay? Remember we talked about that? When you're subtracting the same thing in different orders, they are opposites. So you can cancel them and put a negative in front. So negative x over y is my final answer. Oh, sorry, I picked a weird pen. All right, so I want you to go ahead, pause the video, try number 4 and 5 on your own. When you press play again, the answers will be up here, so make sure you actually pause it. All right, and we're back. So in this first one, I multiplied everything by x times x minus 2 because that's my LCD. So on the top, that x minus 2 is canceled, which left me with x. Down here, nothing canceled, so I had 2 times x, which is 2x, and then I distributed that through to the x minus 2, which gave me 2x squared and a negative 4x. Over here, my plain old x is canceled, so I was left with x minus 2. So my denominator, combined my like terms here, and I got 2x squared minus 3x minus 2, which could be factored, okay? So leave that in factored form. Over here, my LCD was xy, so in the first one, x canceled, 2 times y. Nothing canceled, so I have 6xy. Here my y's canceled, which left me with just x. I could pull out a 2y here, but then I was done. All right, that is all.